Thank you for tuning in and joining the I Never Worry podcast. We really appreciate you on our first episode. You know, the I Never Worry podcast is truly about discussing emotional intelligence with everyday people that manage everyday situations. So the episode you're about to hear is purely just that. There's no stunts, there's no scripts, there's no theatrics. It's just pure conversation through the lens of emotional intelligence. If you want to know what that lens looks like, stay tuned and listen to our first episode with DJ Igor Beats and Square of BayLife Radio. Episode 1, let's go, y'all. This is your I Never Worry podcast.
How you doing? It's your boy DJ Igor Beats, and I'm on the I Never Worry podcast. What it do?
All right, I guess I'll fire this thing up, huh? Fresh off the press, the I Never Worry podcast.
What?
Yes, sir. Where we're discussing emotional intelligence in an everyday manner with everyday people. You know, I got my man Igor and Square in the house.
What it do?
You know, Cuzzo, my right-hand man. And just wanted to, just start to warm up the conversation. Let's see what we have here. We talked about a structure on how we run this. So we want to do an intro, which we'll get a pre-recorded intro from you guys later on just to kind of fit in there. And then tell me what you guys think about, this current event or question of the day as an opener. So if Agent Orange have said something dumb in the news, we might start with his ass, but current events when it comes to emotional intelligence, we're going to be observing and being aware of things that happen in every day. So whether it's a road rage, an unnecessary shooting, a conflict or something that we can kind of put some commentary around, and then we also want to every day introduce one of the 12 guided principles we use in EI. So we'll pick an EI skill for the day to have some conversation around. Then we want to look for personal stories. So, if it's just me and Cuzzo, we'll pick a personal story where we struggled with emotional intelligence or we did well. And if our guests, we'll include them in that type of situation. So like even yesterday, I'm at the post office. I'm in line. It's about 4 people in front of me, about 4 people behind me. This gentleman comes into the post office and he is talking to, they have the post office, they set out these little booths where if you're doing something real quick, right, like prepaid package, whatever, you can go over to that thing. So the guy was like, hey, I need to mail this off express mail. And so the lady was like, oh, that's cool. She was like, oh, but you only got 8 minutes left. You got to get it done, right? She said, we might need to get you to the front of the line. So you can see everybody's posture in the line look like front of the line, right? So to make a long story short, when I get to the front to the counter, I'm right about to make my transaction, and the lady behind me go, this guy needs to do express, so he needs to go first. And the lady at the thing just dismissed me and start addressing dude's packaging because he only had 1 minute left. And so when we talk about emotional intelligence, like in that moment, like I'm pissed, like, and I really want to say something.
What?
For sure. But what I've learned is the first thing before I react, I always put space in between my responses, which is a good EI strategy. So then, and another thing is what they call social awareness, right? So I'm looking at the people, right, that's in line, and I'm looking at the people who serving me. And I say to myself, I could make a big issue out of this, but I don't think that I'm going to get a solution. Because social awareness makes us realize that if they were in tune with their entire customer service skill set, they never would have done that.
Exactly.
Right? So to open up that conversation was only going to frustrate me, but I'm still pissed. So I let I'm pissed. And that's the EI thing. It has nothing to do with somebody trying to tell you how you feel. It's what you do with that feeling.
Or they could have did it differently. Because the way I like to think about situations like that is, what if I was that guy? What if I'm trying to get the package off and I have 1 minute left? Will everyone in that line give me the same courtesy that I want to give him because maybe the package that I'm sending him is not as pressing?
So let me add something to the conversation to make it a little bit more sensitive. There was race that played a part in that. So the person that was trying to get this package done was a white male, right? The person that was helping him was a white woman, right? And the person behind the counter was a white woman. Everybody else in the line is minorities. So I felt like I was being dismissed, which is a common feeling in our community. And I say that, just for those that are listening, because, we definitely have a diverse audience, and we definitely, it's not about no racism or nothing, but it's a continued behavior that we be exposed to, and we're expected to take the higher ground. Because if I would start acting a fool, all they would have focused on is me acting a fool.
Exactly.
Even if you hadn't acted a fool, even if you had just spoke on it, they would have considered it, you getting out of line.
Yeah, right. Or would have tried to explain to me why I anticipated them trying to state a case that it's expressed he only has so much time. But my thing is, what did it have to do with us? Right? It's just because he came in at the 12th hour, right? Why is his emergency, right? Why does it have to inconvenience us? And then when we talk about putting emotional intelligence into the professional work world, where's the training aspect of that? At least the clerk could acknowledge me first and said, "Excuse me, sir. I know you're right here. He has 1 minute left. Would you mind?" And I would have said, "Sure." Right? Because I'm a courteous dude. I wasn't in a hurry.
And she showed you respect.
And she showed me respect.
No,
but
and I think that's how I started my comment. I said maybe that they should have addressed it. I got to do this because this is why we have the podcast.
For sure.
So I think sometimes we automatically, my emotional intelligence that I try to use, I try not to go there with the race thing very first, right? So and even though it may be exactly what it looks like and it is what it is, right? Even though it's exactly what it looks like and it is what it is, what if it's not? What if her true mission was to help this man? If everybody in the line was white and you were black and she did the same thing, we wouldn't think nothing about race.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
And so,
but that wasn't the case, right? So we have to.
But do we know though?
No, we don't know, and I didn't. But remember, in the conversation, I just said that was a factor that I took into my thought process. Mm-hmm. But remember, I didn't respond at all. So whatever I thought the reason was, I didn't let it. Right. That's what we're talking about. Actually, because see, people think emotional intelligence, right, is this mystical, thing that it's impossible to activate when you need it the most. But the problem is that we fight with ourselves about what action we want to take. And what we're going to learn as we continue to grow in this community, in this space, that it's all about what you tell yourself and how much you keep telling yourself this thing because that's what drives you to make your decision. Think about, anytime you've been, and we'll time in with Square or somebody, think about the time you've been upset about something. How much of an impact did what you told yourself play into that?
Just listening to your inner voice before you respond or react or whatever. We don't realize a lot of times that inner voice is like our connection with everything around us. And we've been taught through systematic education that a lot of times we can't pay attention to that. We got to go off of, don't let them do that, or no. But instead, that inner voice is saying, giving you the solution to the whole thing. Yeah, your time is important, just as important as his, might even be more important. Because if his was that important, he would have been on time. He'd have got that handled. These are the things that I think emotional intelligence will tell you from the jump that, hey, we understand what's going on here, but we understand it. And it's not about rah. It's about, okay, let's just get the goal accomplished. Why I came here to begin with. To me, that's what emotional intelligence is. And that could be the difference between, like you said, I could have blew up. I could have, got as soon as if she acknowledged you. But she didn't even give you that.
And it could be the difference between prison.
Right.
Especially
when you
like you know what I'm saying. Being us, it could be the difference between going to being in handcuffs and not being in handcuffs. Like you could easily catch a case,
especially in the post office.
Especially, so does that make it a federal case?
The federal case,
I've caught cases,
right. Just location.
You know, just on sound,
right.
And feeling like you're not going to be, just not going to be done wrong.
And so, like when it comes to the race thing, like one thing that we do have to understand as minorities, black men, black women, you know what I'm saying, Latinos, like. Sometimes we are held to a higher level, whether we like it or not.
Right.
I've learned that, because even being a small guy, man, this melanin is scary to people that don't have it. The way that people, I'm often told that, I like to talk direct. When I'm talking to somebody, I like to talk right to the point. If it's about money, let's get it on the table. And I'm told that, oh man, you got to remember words cut, and you can't talk like that. And I'm like, I'm just keeping it direct. I'm not wavering. And it seems like in the beginning, most other cultures expect you to bow down first, and then when you don't. Oh, well, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So, and that's what it just seemed like I got from the story you was telling, because, just on the offhand, I'm thinking since the male director changed the order in the first place, why didn't she or he change the clock? I mean, like, okay, well, I'm going to give y'all a few more minutes.
Right.
That would have been real customer service.
Right.
And everybody would have been happy.
Or just speaking to the crowd. Just, everybody that she knows has been there all that time. Right. Just say, excuse me, this gentleman only has, explain the situation. Right. That'll alleviate a lot of tension. They might not agree, but they still.
If she just makes it simple, like, excuse me, this man is white, y'all are black. He needs to go first.
Right. But that's what we think.
That would have gave you a chance to just.
That'd have been direct in the mud. Talk about being direct.
Right. So can we handle direct conversation?
You can't handle the truth. But when we talk about, but again, I think Square said it the best, though. I think that when you include people into the process, you minimize the confusion, the conflict, right? We teach folks in the corporate setting, managers, when we talk about emotional intelligence. We teach them that get comfortable, like when you make a decision, explain it. Right? A lot of times memos come out, changes come out, and it's just how it is. On a personal level, we do it with our kids. Right? If your kid asks you why, what you gonna say?
You gotta have an answer.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
Let your kid ask you why we're doing something. You're gonna be like,
my mama's favorite answer.
Your natural reaction will be because I said so, because you feel like this child doesn't have the authority, or I ain't been living long enough, or shouldn't have the audacity to know why. But why can't this young free spirit understand why he has to go do X, Y, and Z? And when do they start to get their choices? So, I mean, I've been learning that. I mean, I got 5 children, but my youngest is 12. Everybody else is grown and on the move. And with him, there are things that I don't necessarily understand why he does it, and he will ask me in a minute, like, why? And I used to get offended, like, and I learned funniest thing. So first of all, these kids today, they have access to way too much information. Right.
Say that.
So you can't just say because I said so, because they're going to double check, though.
They'll go get the answer and bring it back to you.
Which cracks the gate to this conversation. I was riding with my son, was about 7 or 8 years old, and every time we walked to the car, he would always go to the front seat. I'd be like, man, get in the back seat, man, your booster, or however old he was at the time, right? Yeah. And so he kept going, but I can sit in the front, and I'm like, get your behind in the back seat. And he was sick of that booster, right? He wanted to, he wanted to be in the front, and so he Googled how old you have to be in the front seat. And he was like, Dad, I'm